Hello YouTube, this is Nite of Misfortune bringing you yet another video of the game of Supreme Commander 2. This is going to be my first video of the segment called Match of the Week. This is going to be kind of supplementing the tournament that I'm hosting. Well, not the tournament, it's the league. Part of the Serpents Championship series. I've released videos over this event on my channel, so go ahead and check those out. But basically this is going to be a weekly video where I look at primarily those league matches or maybe some tournament matches that were submitted, and basically picking the best of those. So this is going to be out of the league. I believe this was round 2 of the league, but it was submitted during the first week. So each week I will be looking at basically all the replays that were submitted. It doesn't have to be a league match, but I mean, probably will be better if it's a league match. The league matches will get priority for my review for sure. But if you guys want to submit replays for me to review and see if they might be match of the week, then go ahead and send them as always to niteofmisfortune@gmail.com, or send them through Discord. Either one works. No guarantees that they will be cast. If you want yours to be cast for sure, you can support me via Patreon, and there are ways of doing that way. Anyway, I've talked long enough. Let's go ahead and unpause this game. I unpause at 5 seconds. Let's go ahead and play. All right, and so we see this game is between our player in the top. Well, I guess it's more left. We have Vanady spawning as the teal UEF. He's been playing UEF a lot in the tournament that we've had in December. We saw him playing UEF quite a bit, which is kind of, I guess, good because it looks like he's preferring to go UEF. And his opponent on the right, this is Unknowndesire spawning as the blue Aeon. We already have a land factory queued up for Unknowndesire, and we have already an air factory for Vanady. I'm going to go ahead and speed up the game to 3. Now, I did want to point out that these are my my opinion of what the best replays were, what the best match was. Of course, you may have different opinions. I may be biased towards certain things, but there was a lot of great games submitted during this first week of the league. All of them were good games. Many were great games, but this match, this game 1 and game 2, in my opinion, were just stellar. So we see here Unknowndesire has already plopped down 1 research factory, and his opponent is expanding quite a bit. So we see Vanady is a little bit ahead on the expansion front. I do want to mention both of these players are great players. Vanady took 4th spot, and in our tournament over the weekend, he actually beat his group 6-0, went undefeated until until the semifinal, where he lost 2 games, and then he lost 2 games in the match for 3rd place. We see air coming out for both players. This We Do Both is going to be having no trouble cleaning out all of these bombers, especially with these Harvoks coming out. Pretty nice strategy for Unknowndesire. And Unknowndesire is not a bad player by any means, not even a decent player. I would say he's a great player from what I've heard and seen. He's been around for a while. I think even when I played long ago, when you all were kids, he was doing pretty well, and he's still playing, so that's awesome. So we got about 1 1/4 turd of Harvoks coming down here, gonna try and flank around Vanity's position, who is now kind of, well, no, he's still expanding up here and up front. Generally on this map, it's harder to expand forward into these locations because MMLs are such a nasty phenomenon on this map. You just park them right here. They're going to take out anything around here, which is why I'm a little surprised that Vanady is placing the radar where he is here. And he has 2 radars too. But the cool thing about this wall here is that it does protect from bombing runs that are coming down from, the right direction. So that's pretty good. Looks like one Harvok has split off to just scout ahead. but Vanity's ACU is going to make short work of this Harvog and probably the rest of the 1 1/4 turd. An Engineer is going to try and sneak in here and going to try and expand into Vanity's court here. Meanwhile, Unknown Desire is plopping down yet another land factory. There's those MMLs coming out that I've mentioned before. Some anti-air as well, but there isn't, too much air for Unknown Desire. Looks like he's given up on the bottom left of trying to harass onto this ramp. Of course, they're great on harassing, all of these areas. If you manage to sneak off Harwogs on this bridge and your opponent has taken all of these expansions, all of this is dead. They're just going to run wild through it. Nothing can keep up with them, and you can't really catch them. So definitely a useful unit, but if your opponent is on top of it, looks like Vanity expanded kind of in the right direction here, going top side, whereas Unknown Desire has kind of went down. Not to say that this is more of a right choice. If you sneak Harvogs up here, they're going to take out these mass points here, but this is basically a straight shoot here, and that's, just 3 mass extractors. There's like 5 here. So, you definitely don't want to let your opponent through, but I would rather let them through up here than down here. All right, P Shield's coming out. That UEF dev ball of doom essentially is going to be very hard to deal with, especially for Harvogs who don't necessarily have the best damage. However, as we mentioned in some of the replays in the Serpents Open Winter, they do have quite a good rate of fire. So it's not the worst unit, actually, in my opinion, to be combating P Shields. Even Loyalists are pretty good. Actually, I don't know what a bad unit would be to counter Harvogs. I mean, P Shields. I think everything is generally okay. I mean, I guess these bots aren't the best. I mean, they don't have that much damage. I would have to look at like the damage comparison, the DPS, to see how good that is. Okay, looks like these Harvogs are gonna sneak around completely. Vanity is not even gonna. Well, he's sticking around here for a bit. Let's see if he is. He's gonna manage to catch this blob, who I believe was there a teleport? Well, there's a teleport now, and Unknown Desire is gonna clean off all of this base for Vanity. Even though there's a point defense, that is gonna do some work here. But honestly, if Unknown Desire, especially if he micros his titties off over here, he's gonna be just fine. Meanwhile, Vanity has decided to push. We're gonna see most likely a base trade situation. Well, although Unknown Desire is bringing his Harvogs back, we do see some tanks coming out now, which are definitely a bit better against P Shields. There's quite a bit of PDs. Now, PDs are generally very good against this composition. Another teleport in on the main army. However, there's just way too much stuff going on here. Harvogs don't manage to take out too much here. Air is continuing to be a nuisance over here, but there's no bombers, so they're not going to be doing too much damage. Meanwhile, these bots and these tanks are going to clean off this last station. Now, something over here. So, actually, Unknown Desire did not opt to clean off the rest of Vanity's base. So Vanity is actually okay where he is at. He still has, his 3 of his core mass extractors, although some of them might have been rebuilt. No, it looks like they are all his core mass extractors. And, he's pushing it in his opponent's face with MMLs, which are really, really good in this case, where they don't have to do anything. They're just going to sit here and bombard these shields and slowly take out these PDs. There's a little bit more of teleports coming in, but Unknown Desire is doing it kind of sporadically, and Vanity is picking off these blobs one by one without any trouble. Unknown Desire is not really doing much. I feel like maybe there was a lapse in concentration, because I feel like there was a bit of a poor management of his units here. Meanwhile, these Harvogs are going to pick up all of these wasps, and Unknown Desire finally does decide to bring a group of bots and tanks to finish off the base of Vanity. Vanity, meanwhile, finishes off this central factory, which is being rebuilt right away, Another teleport, but again, there's just way too much P-Shields to be teleporting this many tanks and Harvogs into the mix. All the point defenses have gone down. Meanwhile, Unknown Desire is managing to clean up the original mass extractors for Vanity. So if Vanity doesn't make anything happen here, he will be struggling economically. Now, I think he could be a little bit more aggressive here because of you know, how many units Unknown Desire has here. He sees on his radar. What actually, does he have a radar? I don't know if he has a radar, but his ACU should have decent coverage. There's no PDs. There's only 5 units here. He's picking them off quite easily, and now he's definitely for sure going to move forward, and he does. Gonna clean up all of this base, catching up essentially on all the losses that Unknown Desire has brought to him so far. Even though Unknown Desire had way more mobility. So Unknown Desire kind of let Vanity set up shop here without really taking out his base, even though Unknown Desire definitely had just a stellar mobility. He's just barely managing to complete taking out some of these mass extractors over here. Meanwhile, Vanity is doing a great job separating just a little bit of his units. It doesn't have to be much, and bringing them over here to finish off all of these numerous extraction points. The one thing that is difficult, I guess, on this map is once you do have the upper hand, it does take a little bit of time and a little bit of management to get your units to all of these different very distant places, because you know there's stuff here, there's stuff here, there's stuff here, there's stuff here, so like you have to split up your units, and I think Vanity is doing a pretty good job. Don't need a lot. Like I said, 3 tanks will do the job eventually, and meanwhile your main force can go and catch up to the ACU. Just a row of research stations coming out, probably gonna try and go into AC Terrors as a backup. That's why probably he's queuing up some air factories. I think he lost the ACU off his radar for sure, so he's not exactly sure where he is. So Vanity is going to bring him back his units to try to take out this these Harvogs, but looks like he's going to resume his chase. I don't know, I necessarily agree with Unknown Desire coming into this pocket here. He might get cornered here if Vanity decides to check that. And Vanity still has his expansion up here, even though he has not great mobility. And in fact, Vanity does manage to find Unknown Desire. Unknown Desire does have some P-gens that I don't remember what it's called, electroshock or something. Anyway, he does have that going for him, but there's a lot of tanks for Vanity. I'm not sure that these P-gens will do enough damage before there is a snipe. Unknown Desire is trying to hide behind these P-gens. Vanity is a little scared. He's gonna back off even when these Harvogs and tanks came back. However, Unknown Desire is at half health, quarter health. There's a teleport coming in, but there's just too much damage, too many tanks from Vanity. Vanity's going to clean up all of this army, and then he's going to decide to finally focus down Unknown Desire and finishing him off in game 1. So Vanity, and I even missed this Air Force, but there was just a lot going on for Vanity. Vanity takes game 1, very good game, managing to save, you know, a pretty difficult situation with all these teleports. But let us see if Unknown Desire can bring it back in game 2. I'll be right back. Welcome back, YouTube. This is game 2 between Vanity and Unknown Desire. This one's going to be on Powderhorn Mesa. This is a round 2 match, game 2 in this matchup. Let's go ahead and play. So I'm paused at 5 seconds currently. I'm going to set game speed 3 just because I do know that this is going to be a longer game. This is probably the game why I picked this matchup. This is definitely a great game. So pause at 5, game speed 3, unpausing in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so on the left we have the return of our teal UEF player. It is Vanity building up a air factory and going some eco. So pretty standard for this map, I would say. And his opponent on the right hand side barely managing to lose out on the last match on Way Station Zeta. We have Unknowndesire spawning in as his blue Aeon commander as well. All right. Both players, nope. Well, Vanity is actually expanding forward, which I don't necessarily agree with this air start. Might have been a bit better to go backwards, but what do I know? I'm just a dumbass caster. All right, so Bomber's coming out for Vanity first, which again makes it very easy for Unknowndesire as we do boosts to take that stuff down. Let's see if he reclaims that free mass up here. Fairly equal in their mass extractors, actually exactly equal. And Vanity deciding to throw down a research station here. Meanwhile, we see the return of the Harvog. It seems that Unknowndesire is favoring these units, and it's hard to say that he's wrong because they are pretty good. You know, they're basically like adapters, but they do damage, but they don't have shields. So whatever you value more, shields or damage. I mean, I think I prefer the adapter personally, but Harvogs are definitely not a bad choice. UEF probably has the worst bot out of them all, but they are pretty fast, and we see that air upgrade coming out. It's gonna clean out all of these wasps before too many Weedo boss fall. In fact, all 3 Weedo boss managed to survive. Actually, one of them falls, so there were 4, and Vanity is doing a good job reclaiming all the mass. Unknowndesire is too. These players are professionals. They know what they're doing. They're going to reclaim all the mass they can get their hands on. Looks like Vanity is missing one, even though I just said that. But, you know, 3 out of 4 is not bad, and this one is fairly out of position. So, all right, so we see both players staying on top of their expansions, continuing to expand mass extractors. A lot of times I see on this map players kind of forget to expand, and it's very important because obviously this map has a bit of larger quarters here, and if you fall behind expanding, you know, to catch up is more difficult than say like open palms and whatnot, because it's just so big on this map, and you just have to basically constantly send your engineers around and continue building up. All right, Vanity is still on 1 land factory, which is probably gonna start causing him some issues here in a bit because of just so many Harvogs coming out here. Not sure what he's saving up for. I think he has plenty of mass. He's actually, I think he's up on mass extractors right now, maybe by 1 or let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Never mind, he's behind 1 after that. That one got taken out. These bots are finally going to start and push. I think Unknowndesire does have a pretty good number of these bots over here. So they are managing to take out fairly many of these tanks, but actually Vanity upgrades the I think they're called Gauss cannons on his mass extractors and research stations. So that's gonna push back Unknowndesire for the time being. That is just simply way too much fire in the main base to be taking for you know, just Harvogs. Yeah. As you know, the one disadvantage of Harvogs is that they do have, you know, a high rate of fire, which might give them the same DPS, but you know, they have less life than tanks, obviously. So it's more difficult to have them in a straight up fight. However, they are more mobile, so you can micro your way out of you know, the shots that the tanks are taking on you. So, you know, it's a trade-off. I think Unknowndesire is doing pretty good with his micro, but you know, we have to see a bigger engagement here to really see how this goes. Both players, again, doing a really good job expanding. We see Unknowndesire and Vanity expanding to both top and bottom sides of the map, and now they're going to clash here in a few minutes, and that's going to be interesting because, again, this map just really opens up at that point if players start prioritizing trying to take out some these expansions. You have basically, you know, multiple fronts on this map of fighting. With air, it's going to be even more interesting. MML's coming out for Unknowndesire, definitely a good unit choice. His opponent is kind of on the back foot here with, you know, not so many tanks. So if he can park these MMLs around here, he'll be able to take shots, basically unreturned shots here. Unknown Desire is going to try and expand a little bit more than Vanity. Going to build a radar here first, but he is trying to queue up some mass extractors here. Looks like he's going to bypass this mass extractors actually and take and go all the way over here and try to build up here. Although I don't necessarily agree with that. That's just putting your ACU way farther from where he could be useful. Although we are transitioning into later games, so it might not be a bad idea to kind of hide the ACU. The problem is that he is going to come straight across this expansions from that Vanity, so Vanity is going to see exactly where that ACU is if he's paying attention. A lot of research stations going down here for Unknown Desire. Meanwhile, we still have, well, actually no, there's a second research station for Vanity, so that is pretty good. MMLs finally made their way to Vanity's base, gonna start shooting there. Which is going to be really good for the time being because Vanity actually decided to go P-Shields here. So MMLs are definitely one of the best units. We talked about worst units, which again, I'm not really sure what the worst unit for countering P-Shields is. But MMLs, I would say probably the best unit to counter P-Shields, at least in a little number. Like, 3 or 4 will do wonders against P-Shields. They're just, especially if your opponent is microing well. We also see Shadjas. I totally missed Shadjas coming out. For Unknown Desire, so that's going to be really helpful. So these P-Shields aren't going to be useful for a few minutes here. 4 land factories for Vanity. Meanwhile, he's queuing up actually 3. Well, he built 2. He's building the 3rd one. Air factories. So he's going to take air here pretty well. Actually, I keep forgetting about these Harvogs. These Harvogs have a lot of anti-air, so I don't necessarily agree with his choice unless he starts harassing with these planes. Probably like now to try and take out some of these expansions. ACU taking out the UEF engineer up here, so that's going to shut that down. I would have loved to see this commander continue here and maybe capture some of these mass extractors on his way back, but he's bringing it back. Don't know for what, because these armies are now too big for ACU coverage and ACU stuff, unless he upgrades his ACU, but doesn't look like he's doing so, although he certainly does have a lot of research stations. He has 4 now. Meanwhile, Vanity has 3. Well, but Vanity did have his first one, I think, for a little bit longer. Artillery coming out for Vanity, so that's going to be definitely very useful for him in taking out some of these shields. So Aeon upgraded their unit shields, so that's going to be really, really good for Vanity. Meanwhile, he's just building a lot of P-Shields and plopping down even more research stations. So my guess is he's gonna, well, I can't even take a guess because I know what's gonna happen, so I'm not gonna say anything. Just gonna remain neutral and say what's actually happening. Again, we see this time Unknown Desire doing a great job splitting up some of his forces. He does not need to split off a lot, again, because these bots are so mobile. Once they have teleport, they just rack everything. But the good thing is that Vanity, I don't know if he got these for this purpose, but he does have a lot of bombers here now, and he's gonna take out that force no problem. However, he's probably gonna lose another mass extractor, maybe even 2 here. The air is gonna try and come over here, but there's just too much air. Another teleport coming in. These forces engaging. A lot of tanks are going down. P-Shields just go down super quickly. And the main force of, oh, nice bombing run. That takes out a lot of his units. However, now the Hardwalk fire is going to clear up these bombers very, very fast. I think there was a little bit of an erroneous teleport there too. Looks like there's a nice surround as well. Those P-Shields are going down fast, but units are not going down quite as fast, which is forcing Unknown Desire to back away. However, Vanity did lose a lot of his bombers there. I'm not so sure that this is a really good trade for Vanity. However, there's a lot of mass here now. Let's see if he builds an engineer or 2 to start reclaiming it. Immediately throwing down 2 additional land factories, which is pretty good. His opponent is still on 5. He's going to be now on 7, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, 7. He's cleaning up even more there, and he has more air factories. So let's see what Unknown is trying to do. He does have a lot of research stations going down. So we'll see what he wants. My guess is actually he might want to upgrade his ICU, which might be the reason why he's trying to bring him back here. Meanwhile, he did grab this expansion, so again, they're so equal actually on expansions again. I would say Vanity, well, Vanity lost a lot of mass extractors here, but he has a lot more here. He has 2 here and Unknown Desire. So it's pretty equal on mass extractors. Another teleport coming in, another bombing run on these bots, and taking out actually the one soul Shadja that was there. And shields are not as quick to fall this time, which causes Unknown to very quickly retreat. A lot of artillery now and a lot of P-shields now. Again, Unknown Desire splitting off some of his forces over here. I'm not sure that is a great idea. If Vanity chose to attack his opponent here, I think that would have been very, very difficult for Unknown to counter. However, these bots are now making their way back, so they will be able to intercept them for sure now. A lot of research stations being queued up for Vanity. I guess he had a lot of mass saved up. And as a UEF, you don't really go ACU upgrades. You go, you know, either an AC 1000 or you do, you know, good old Fat Boys, which is what Vanity is going to do here. Meanwhile, I really don't see where Unknown is going to go off of this. I guess he's going to finish up upgrading his land units to the maximum, which as Aeon is not nowhere near bad of an idea. We see some more upgrades coming up for Vanity. He's probably upgrading some, probably the Gauss cannons or something like that. Or actually no, anti-air is a pretty smart choice. Unknown Desire finally building up some factories, which is going to catch him up on the land. And we do indeed see a Fat Boy coming out from Vanity's land gantry. Just a slew of land factories going down for Unknown Desire. There's a teleport coming in. A bombing run would be really good here, which indeed it does come. Vanity's trying to upgrade his land, but I'm not so sure. There's just so many bots over here. The air is not doing enough and actually getting taken out very quickly. All air is getting taken out very, very quickly. I think there's anti-air on these, all of these units. Yeah, it looks like there is. So air is going to be very, very ineffective, and I would not be surprised if both these players cancel their air production, which I am always wrong when I say that, because both of them continue to produce air. Unknown Desire even building a second air factory. The first Fat Boy is making his way over here. However, oh man, that teleport is so good against Fat Boys. All he has to do is just jump on him and then just target it, and then that's you know, that's a sizable loss to your land forces. However, Unknown Desire doesn't feel comfortable doing that. Yeah. Oh, and he goes for it. Is he targeting down? No, it looks like he does not target it down. He's just trying to fire as much on the forces of UAF, but that actually costs him so much because he loses pretty much 3/4 of his army there. Vanity would be good to push here and try to you know, do as much damage while these land factories are still going online. You know, Unknown Desire is, oh, nice teleport. Looks like he's gonna try and go around and try and take out the base of Vanity. This Fat Boy should not be going towards the force. That's gonna make quick work of it. Teleporting on top of the land gantry, taking it out, and gonna probably clear out all or most of these research stations, even though they do have cannons on them. That was pretty poor Fat Boy control, and Vanity lost his second Fat Boy pretty quickly. And I think Unknown Desire is doing a much better job in this game, kind of using the mobility that teleport provides you, especially with these Harvogs, to take out these multiple expansions. I would love to see this blob. He does not need this blob. Go down and take out some of these and maybe even start harassing back here. That's going to be very, very difficult. Another teleport coming in on top of the Fat Boy. Still not focusing down the Fat Boy. However, the Fat Boy is in front line, right in front of the boss this time, so it does take quite a bit of damage. Air's still trying to come out here, but there's just no chance that that's going to do anything. And again, Vanity is doing really good job taking out most of Unknown Desire's army. However, he's not choosing to press his advantage that he so clearly has at this point. King Cryptor, by the way, is queued up in the land factory. You know, I say that he should be using it. However, you know, there's always a possibility of a snipe with that teleport. So he does have to be careful about where he positions his army. But I'm of the opinion that if you know, micro well, and you kind of you have to know your army's positioning. So you don't want to be here with your army, but you do want to position it here. You know, there's a nice concave here that if you position your army here, his army is here. If he goes down here, which he needs to be able to teleport all the way over here, you're going to be able to intercept him. So, and with these fat boys, it's really much easier to intercept teleport. So, and that will cause your opponent to commit, and if he missed micros, that's going to be really good for you. However, there's a big teleport. I'm not sure Vanity should be bringing his whole entire army, because this army for Unknown Desire finally, he has enough units, enough factories. He had enough time to build up. Oh my goodness, there's like Vanity's right in between two armies. This is not where you want to be as a UEF player. These, you know, there are cannons on these mass extractors and research factories, but they're not going to do much at this point in the game. And basically the only thing that's firing is this fat boy. So these bots are going to live for a very long time. We see Honker being researched for Vanity. That's going to be very useful against the snipe, especially against bots who are not as good of penetrating those kind of shields. Another thing Vanity could have done is he could have brought his ACU with the main group. There's, you know, a lot of P shields. There's no way, you know, 5 minutes ago that Unknown Desire was going to contest this main army. So, you know, base trade if you want. At this point, he was Unknown Desire was building up a lot of his land factories. It would have been hard for him to come back, especially with bots when you have experimentals and P shield. So, you know, it might have been a little different. Meanwhile, Unknown Desire is doing a really good job this game, taking out, doing as much harassment as possible with his teleport. Meanwhile, building up an army. You know, this blob over here is not that big, so he is doing just a stellar job with that. And this army just keeps chasing him for no reason, which is not going to be good. This King Cryptor, I think, was out for like 2 or 3 minutes in game time, and he just barely shot off his first shot. Meanwhile, these bots are still alive, still doing damage. Very useful for Unknown Desire. And at this point, oh, and I totally missed a nuke. And nuke was built there. Unknown teleports on top of this army, surrounds it very well. There's just way too many units for it not to be a surround. These P shields are still holding. That King Cryptor was at full health, but now Unknown Desire is targeting it, and now I think this is record time that I see a King Cryptor go down. Nothing is going down for Unknown Desire, and Vanity has a quick downturn here. This was just an amazing game to me. I think Vanity did make a few mistakes. I totally missed this nuclear silo going down, by the way. Just an incredible job early game by Vanity. And there was definitely a 2 or 3 minutes where he could have pushed out. There was very minimal army. Unknown Desire was still building out all of his factories here. I don't know what he was using his research for. So I think Vanity did for sure miss his opportunity this game, but Unknown Desire did a much better job splitting up his forces once he did have an advantage and harassing around the main area. I would have again loved to see him harass a little bit more around, but you know, he still ended up winning. He still ended up having a really good engagement, especially with that nuke taking down half of his base and army, half of Vanity's army. They were frozen here for a bit, so very spectacular game in my opinion that these two players played. I think a tie is well deserved. I think both players will be happy with that. Maybe not so much Vanity, but you know, 1-1 tie in the league against a great player is definitely not bad. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching this replay. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions for me, if you have any replays for me, like I said at the beginning of the video, I will be considering non-league games as well, but these league games will have priority. So if you want to submit, please do so. Also, join the league. The next one will probably be in not for a while, but you know, keep your eye out. We're going to have a tournament in March, or Steel Speaks will have a tournament in March. So keep an eye out. for me, do me a solid and follow me, like this video, leave a comment about what you think I could improve on, and watch some of my other videos. I'm not going to be focusing only on Supreme Commander. I am trying to grow my channel in different avenues, so there is going to be quite a bit of content, but I'm going to put out at least a video a week for Supreme Commander 2. I love this game to death. So yeah, follow me everywhere, links down in the description down below. And again, thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you in the next one.